Welcome to the third series of this fighting game tutorial in Flame. In this video, we will manage the player state by creating a function that returns the appropriate player state, so we can integrate this into the application later in this series. After this video, you should easily set a variable in a function and set the player animation. Before I start, I just want to mention that if these videos in this series have actually helped you, there is one simple thing you can do for me, and that is to subscribe. It helps give me the motivation to push out more content like this. Alright, let's get back to the game. Starting off from where we stopped last time, one thing you will notice is how much code we had in our fighting game class just to make one animation work. Let's clean this up a little. First, let's create a models folder, and within it we would have the sprite vector file. This class will hold the position and size of each sprite in each image. Let's create another file called sprite vectors. This would hold the positions for all the sprites along with each action they perform. So, for each of the images, we would have to upload them to sprite cow and get the position and size of each sprite. This will be repeated for all the other sprites, which is a lot. So to save you guys time, I will speed up this section and you can copy the results from the starter project file and just paste them in your code. Once we have this file all set up, we can go over to the fighting game file and replace the long list with the corresponding vector list by mapping the array to a list of sprites. This code still looks a bit much, so let's clean it up more. First, let's create an enum to store the player types. Inside the enum, I'll create a get variable called sprite path. This would return the name of the folder containing the images for that player. We would also create another enum for the character states. This enum would hold all the states a player can stay in. This would also have the sprite part that stores the corresponding image for that state. To check if these sprite paths are correct, I would use them to load the player image. Okay, this works for multiple players, so we've confirmed that the path is attached to the enum. The next file I'll create is the character sprite animation. I would create a function to get the animation using the character type and character state. Then I will just copy this sprite animation into the function. The function requires a list of sprite vectors, so I will create another function to get the list of sprites called frames. Using the switch statement, we'll check the state and then under each state, check for each player. This file is also in the starter project, so you can copy the code and paste it. But if you feel like writing it yourself, it is quite straightforward. It just contains a couple of switch statements. One thing you should note is that the skeleton sprite I used doesn't have a jump animation. So for this game, I would disable jumping for all skeletons. In the switch statement, you see that it is set to idle. This is just to make it work, as they won't even be able to enter this state in the game. In the function to get the player animation, we can use the frames function with the character type and character state, and also replace the sprite image using the sprite path for both character type and state. I will also set two other variables for step time and loop. The step time controls the animation speed, and the loop sets if the animation repeats or if it doesn't. We can now go back to the fighting game and replace the animation with this function. And with this, we can easily control the state of the player by just changing the enum. In the next video, we will learn about buttons and controls, and we'll also add them to the game. I hope to see you then. Until then, have a nice day.